So I'm back to spend a little bit of time with the taper on this dividing head. What I wound up doing is I determined how much travel I have on the compound on my Logan lathe, and basically just set virtually the same angle that I would use for cutting the brown and sharp tapers or turning the brown and sharp tapers, and started kind of just hacking away at about a 2-inch piece of this thing. I think you can kind of see the contact area I'm getting right there, and looks like a little bit through here as well. So I still can't say with any conviction what taper this actually is, but I can get that one to fit pretty well at the moment, and I've been kind of fine-tuning it for the last, I don't know, hour or so. I might spend a little bit more time with it tomorrow, but I doubt it. I think I'm probably going to call it good enough for what I'm going to be doing. It jams in real nice. I've got the wiggle taken out of it. I think I can live with that. What I'm going to do is, I've got a 1/2-inch hole in this. I'm going to make this into a set screw collet. The idea behind this whole thing is trying to make a collet holder that I can take 1/2-inch round material with, so that I can start doing the new generation of thumb wheels. So when I'm finally satisfied with the dimensions on that, probably going to put a set screw back here somewhere below the surface and make a steel plate that will go over the collet itself, and use these three, I think they're 1/4-20s, to actually secure the collet in place. I want very badly to be able to cut a nut for this thing, but it's another one of those situations where it's going to take a tool to make a tool to actually make the final product. So I don't think I want to spend that much time with that right now, especially when all I want to do is just try to move on to the next phase of this thumb wheel thing. So I think doing it that way is going to serve my purposes well enough. So the way I've been kind of fine-tuning this is, I got it down, the surface finish looks pretty crummy still yet, granted, but I got it down to a rough taper, and then I came over here, blued it up a little bit, and shoved it in, saw where I was contacting at, back over to the lathe, file down that area, and it kind of kept working back and forth between this outer edge and the center. Back and forth, over a dozen different times, I would say. But as it stands right now, I think it's close enough that I can live with it. I just wish it had... Oh, and Anthony came up with another interesting suggestion that could be really helpful. Instead of the two discs method, he had suggested using 2 different diameters of round stock. Obviously the one would set in deeper, cut it off flush, or measure it to some simple point, and do the same with a second one. And it kind of dawned on me, an extension of that would be take a larger diameter outside one, bore a hole through it, put the smaller interior diameter, and make it so that the two could be adjusted, have a set screw on it, the whole kit and caboodle. Then basically you could do it all in one operation, essentially, or at least as far as getting the inboard and outboard internal dimensions could be done in one operation. Then conceivably, you could set it up kind of like I had the other day, with a piece of wood and a couple of straight edges to approximate the taper with a little more accuracy. But Anyways, not really earth-shatteringly critical at this point. I just want to move forward to the next thing, which is getting this thing on the mill after I get done with the transmission and start making some thumb wheels, some of the fancier thumb wheels. Because I think without having the 4-jaw chuck on this thing, I think it's going to compact it down enough that it's going to fit on the 16-inch rotary table a lot better. So that's what I'm really excited about trying next. It's going to take me a few more days to get fully situated, plus the parts for the transmission aren't coming until I think the 11th. So I've got a couple more days before I can even finish up with the transmission. I definitely don't want that level of chips flying around in the garage with the transmission open. So anyways, that's it for today.